Hello, everyone. Welcome one, welcome all, and welcome back to the Bleav in Iowa State podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Carter.
And I'm your host, Cody Van Cielo.
Cody, today's show, we are going to be talking about the recent college football playoff proposal. And I know that there was a tweet that was created by On3. If you'd like to share your screen, I'd love to talk about this with you.
Yeah, let's hear. Yeah, so originally, this was reported on 3 last Friday. And reports from Ross Dellinger saying that a 16-team college football playoff bracket is gaining support in the Big Ten SEC camps. And the proposed 16-team playoff would include 4 bids for the SEC and the Big Ten, 2 bids for the ACC and the Big 12, 1 group of 6 bid, and 3 at-large bids with play-in games for the Big Ten and the SEC, respectively, at the 3v6 and 4v5 matchup. So, what was your first reaction when you saw this?
I didn't like it. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I do not like this at all. Basically, what this is telling me is that, whenever there's a year where there are more 9-3 teams either in the Big Ten or the SEC, what that tells me is that they're going to try and get 3 more teams in and have 7. Basically make it almost half the playoff be either Big Ten or SEC teams, because I just see this as just a net negative for the Big 12 and for the ACC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think I think I even found Pete Thamel was talking about this as well. And this was his quote saying that got an industry source that said, quote, "I would say 16 is becoming more preferred." And they also said it seems like 16 may be the preferred number, but there is no formal decision. Now, that was from a Power 4 commissioners meeting on Thursday. So that was just some more things out of that camp. And what else was say, there were no decisions made Thursday in that meeting, but there was decisions obviously there are future implications that could possibly happen within the college football playoff. Obviously, we just had the first 12-team playoff, which I thought was actually not too bad. What did you like? The 12-team playoff?
So yeah, let's talk about. Let's dive into that for a second. I know everybody was basically trashing the 12-team playoff, and it was a little bit rocky the first few rounds, with some blowouts in the first few rounds. But once we got basically to the quarterfinals and the semis, as you saw, we thought that Texas Arizona State game was going to be a snoozer when Texas was up 24-8, and then you saw just Cam Scatterboo basically almost Arizona State. Well, almost will Arizona him and Sam Levitt almost will Arizona State to victory. So that for me, and then just the semifinal games, those went down to the wire. It was B to A for Oregon, Ohio State, but Ohio State in those games, and then Notre Dame and Penn State went down to the wire. So I mean, I thought it was absolutely amazing, and then Notre Dame stormed back and came back just short in the national championship game. So I mean, the 12-team playoff actually was a lot better than what I thought it would.
Yeah, me too. And honestly, the seeding is I mean, there was a lot of discussion on what teams would get in and what not. And the whole debacle when it came to Alabama being left out, and you had a lot of butthurt SEC fans and say Alabama should have been well, some of them. Obviously Alabama fans were pretty butthurt with it. But y'all said y'all were the most competitive conference, but that should not give you an excuse to be what is considered mediocre to Alabama standards, which is what they had 9-3 under Kalen DeBoer. Obviously, Texas come in and basically run roughshod. Granted, Texas caught a big break in the SEC, but I mean, they were still running through teams. I mean, Georgia was up there. You also had Carolina make a case, A&M. The SEC, it was pretty competitive. but that should not like be an incentive for like, oh yeah, we should get more spots for the SEC. I feel like there still needs to be like that level of exclusivity when it comes to like the SEC and the Big Ten. Now I'm reading I'm taking a look at like some of the replies that came with the On3 report, and a lot of talks like different fan bases. I mean, you got obviously the Iowa State fan base is talking like whatever. And obviously for a reason we're on Iowa State, so our biggest rival is Iowa. And this is some of the things like it's really funny that the Iowa fans are propping up like, oh, the Big Ten, the SEC, whatever, and like talking about like only the Big Ten SEC automatic bids, trying to dog on the Big 12, like calling it the new MAC or whatever. I'm like, respectfully, the closest Iowa had been to the college football playoff was 2015, and they fell short. And I don't think Iowa's ever gotten that close. Now, Iowa State was in the same position just last year, one game away from the college football playoff, because obviously Big 12 champion got the automatic bid, and Iowa State, if they win that game against Arizona State, would have certainly been in the position. And who knows how the Texas game would have come out, because Iowa State is familiar with Texas, obviously having been conference mates within the past like couple years and being familiar with you're dealing with Steve Sarkisian and Quinn Ewers. So, but it's just weird, like seeing how like we're just this 16 team playoff. I don't know, like even with like this, like yeah, you're gonna have 4 SEC and 4 Big Ten. The question is like, is that gonna warrant like actual good competition? Because even when you had like the 2 Big Ten teams in Oregon and Ohio State, you still saw a blowout. Right. And then it's regardless of who you put in there, regardless of what conference you put in, there are still going to be blowouts. And this whole thing about like the SEC and the Big Ten only being the 2 power conferences doesn't matter. Like if you put all of them in there, you're still going to see some blowouts, because there are like within these conferences, you still have these tiers. Yes, the SEC and the Big Ten are the elite, but you have just a whole different class even within those 2 conferences. Like your Georgias, your Ohio States, your Penn States of the world. There's still that like other tier within it. So I just am not a huge fan of this stuff, but it's also like way too soon because we just installed the 12 team playoffs. So I don't know why we're so quick to jump to like the 16 team.
It's all about numbers, honestly, Cody. Like it's a TV product, so they're trying to get as many eyes on it as possible. The only thing that I wish that they would do is move the game maybe from like Monday night to Saturday night, because now what you're doing is that there's like a 10-day layoff between the semifinals and the national championship game. Yes, they need rest, but at least make it the next Saturday, and or maybe move the game up, or maybe I don't know, maybe think about like putting the game a few days later or on that Monday. Obviously, yes, you're going to be competing with Super Wildcard Weekend. But the thing is that people will already have forgotten about it the last 10 in that 10 days, because they're going to be competing during the NFL playoffs. Mm-hmm. That's when the NFL playoffs start, and like the fact that that national championship game happened right after the divisional round is absolutely nuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess mentioned it like with the calendar of the college football playoff this year. Where would you have put like that a national championship game then?
Because when was it? It was on the 20th, right?
I Bleav so. Yeah, the 2025 one, that was on January 20th.
I mean, I would put it on that Saturday, because if you could be, yes, you're going to be competing with the NFL playoffs, but like if you put it on a Saturday night, like put it on the night that college football games are mostly played on Saturday night. If it's Monday night, like nobody is really going to watch it, and people are already going to forget about it after 10 days. I don't think the layoff should be like 10 days. I think it should be at least like 7. Like, let's say you put it on like that Friday night or Saturday night, like somewhere on like a standalone night where it's not going to be interfered with. Like that's how you should do it.
Wait. Okay, so I'm trying to cross-reference the college football playoff with NFL playoffs. Because I don't think, the NFL doesn't run games on Friday, so
I
wait.
mean, yeah, that would be
Why
that. That would be.
Yeah, why don't you just run the national championship on a Friday, and that's how you start your football? That's how you start the football weekend, that playoff weekend or whatever. You end the college football season, you lead up into the start of the NFL. Let's see. Yeah, the wild card round for the NFL happens like the day after the semifinals. So
Right. So,
and then what you could do then, you could put you put the national championship the week after, you put the national championship before the divisional.
I'm telling you, that's how you can fix it, bro. Because if you're gonna continue to do it this way, you're gonna have to you're gonna lose numbers, man. Yeah, your numbers were good during the season, but during the time where you really want people to tune in, and you're gonna basically just bury it on a Monday. Come on now.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that Monday you have a lot of university. Well, I get it. Granted, it's silly week or silly week at Iowa State at least. But and again, you have a lot of people that work the next day, that go to school the next day, and things like that. So you put it on a Friday, you're probably still in winter break for a lot of university students. So
and Cody, not to mention, we're in the middle of conference season for basketball too. So you're going to be competing with big Monday games, especially if you're about to get into the meat of if your college basketball team is getting into the meat of their schedule. It doesn't make any type of sense to me why you would even do that. That's how I think you should fix it. And then another thing that needs to be fixed, we got to talk about the seating, bro, because the seating is just absolutely messed up.
Yeah, I mean, what exactly the seeding with this 12-team playoff kind of threw you off? What was it about this one that you weren't particularly a fan of, or just seeding in general?
Well, the seeding I think it should be basically on how you were ranked, because there's no reason why Ohio State should have been in the 8th seed. Ohio State, we watched Ohio State all year last year. And they lost to Michigan. But you knew that Ohio State was one of the 4 best teams in the nation. Texas probably should have been up there in the top 4 too. So they probably should be at least number 4 or number 3. So I mean, we got to really, really be serious with ourselves, and maybe you change it to the top 4 teams that are ranked the highest instead of the top 4 conference champions. I don't know if that would cause some competition issues. I don't know. What are you thinking? What are you thinking on this?
Let's see. So with that, the whole thing with winning your conference championship, I think how that kind of played out. I think I kind of like the idea of having your conference championship be a reason you get in. Yeah, I thinking maybe that could just be an automatic bid. I don't think maybe not a top 4 automatic seed, but I'd say win your conference championship gets you an automatic bid into the playoff.
I agree. No. Now that should still be.
Maybe it should guarantee. Yeah, maybe it should guarantee you a home, at least one home game. Say if you're a top 8 seed, maybe you can not just top 4, but the top 8.
Okay, now I see. Now I can do that. Let's say you don't have to be top 4, but maybe you'll get, even if you're 5 or 6, you're still gonna get 5, 6, or 7. Or 5 through 8. You still get a home playoff game, and you're not gonna get a bye, but you'll host a home playoff game 5 through 8.
And I think some fans may like that. I think some fans would prefer that. I mean, example, Iowa State. I think I knew a lot of people that would have definitely preferred, they were to make the college football playoff, to have that home game.
Yeah, I did. A lot of people said that they'd rather have the home game than go to
than have the bye. Yeah, and then just play their first game in the neutral site. So I think, just you win your conference championship, you get an automatic home game. You get it automatically seeded within the top 8. So you're guaranteed a home game. You don't know exactly where you're gonna land, but you're you're guaranteed a home game.
No, yeah, I mean that makes sense. That's crazy. I still would take the bye.
Yeah,
I don't want to play like directly right after. And yes, oh, you could be rusty, yeah, but with the injuries that we had, you really want
yeah,
to go into the next week in a
yeah.
playoff game?
I mean, yeah, I mean it. Yeah, it comes down to like where you land, like top 8 seeds, whether you're conference champion or not. If you're just in that top 8, you'll be seeded 1 through 8, and then you'll find out your fate then, whether you're gonna have that first round bye or you're gonna play a home game on campus.
Do you think your ranking before coming into the game should determine where you're at, or no?
I'd say, there's a fine line there because like certain teams that are ranked so high, like they may not even get to play in their conference championship. I mean, for example, Ohio State, they were one of the top like 10, like top 5 teams in the country, but they didn't get to play in the conference championship because they lost like what was it, a tiebreaker from Penn State, and then it's just like a lot of tiebreakers. So I think. Yeah, I don't think you can do too much. Like I don't think playing in a conference championship should punish you. So I'd say maybe go into do the rankings that before the end of the regular, like at the end of the regular season, and anything that happens like in postseason play like can help you, but it doesn't harm you necessarily.
Completely agree, and I also think let's call it for what it is. That whole thing with the SEC and Big Ten trying to play 3 versus 6 and 4 versus 5 games, like no,
Like I'm not here to watch a glorified conference game. Respectfully, that's not
that's
what
what
I'm.
I'm saying. Like nobody wants to see that. We saw all these games. We're like we know you're going to get 4 teams in. Like no. Like I think the Big 12 and ACC needs to like put their foot down and be like, no, we are not agreeing to this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I guess then,
Now,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, now I will say with the 4 teams, I don't think you're going to be able to like change like 4 teams is 4 teams. So like I'm good with that. But maybe we um add like more automatic qualifiers and take one from the group of 6 or group of 5. But I'm saying this because the in those last 8, you can have like 8 whatever, or you can have two group of 6, and then 6. Could it be 4, 4,
Yep,
2?
8, 10.
Yeah, 4, 4, 2, which would be 10, and then 6 automatic. So which means that
Yeah.
if another group of 5 school makes it, then that's how you can do it and make it like more fair. So then that way you won't stock up with Big Ten and SEC teams because you already know that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah. So basically, what you're saying is you had the 4 SEC, you had the 4 Big 10 schools, right?
Yep.
You subtract one of the auto bids from the AC and the Big 12.
Crap! I did the math wrong. Sorry.
Okay.
No, whatever how because the group of 5 gets 1, right?
Yeah, they get that one. The best group of 5, like conference champ.
So it's 4, 4, 2, 2. So that's 12. Yeah. So you take away. Yeah, you take away the group of 5, and then you just make it 4 automatic qualifiers.
4 at-large bids.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, 4 at large bids. Yeah,
Okay.
and then that way, like it will actually cause like the people the committee to actually choose a group of 5 team to do. But then I guess it depends on whoever is on that thing, they could possibly have bias or whatever. But I mean, we really gotta ask ourselves who really are the 16 best teams in football, and
Mhm.
sometimes that might be the group of 5 teams. So we'll see.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised you keep like the 4-4. That's just an inevitability. Like I wouldn't be surprised at that. The ACC. God, if I was to weigh the ACC and the Big 12, I feel like the obviously might be a little biased, but I just think the Big 12 is a little more stable than the ACC. Just looking
Yeah,
at the conference as a whole. So, but you still have those 2 and 2, which I'm okay with. Yeah. And then you swap the group of like 5 auto bid for the 4 at large.
Yeah, I mean, and who knows? Like, we'll see how the Big 12 goes this year. Like, we can see maybe there's like multiple teams, and hey, maybe it's not a cluster as it was last year. Because last year, like, that's the only really thing without us not like the good thing is that I'm glad that there's not any divisions, but the good thing with divisions is that divisions gave you like a chance to like really determine who won each division. But the only thing is with divisions is that divisions would give you lopsided championship games. But
Yeah.
like these tiebreakers are just absolutely ridiculous. There's got to be something done to do that, or maybe like we've been saying, maybe we should like create a pod system and you play your pod. We've talked about this a lot on this show.
Yeah. Like you have 16 teams in your conference, so you could just simply split it like into like 4 pods or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of run like, what would you say, like association football style kind of thing, where I know they do it in like the Champions League, where they kind of do it there, where like you have like you have your that's the thing. It's like it's what it would be like. You would play all of your teams like in your pod. Then you play at least 6 games. Then you play teams from 2 other pods, I guess you could do.
Mm-hmm. And that's 9 right there.
Yeah, and then you have your 3 non-con games.
Right. So it's a quick way. So let's say hypothetically in Iowa State's pod, it would be K-State, Kansas, and then probably Colorado.
Yeah.
So
you
you
put
play
us.
Those 3.
Then you would put BYU, Utah, and the Arizona schools together.
Yep.
Then you would have the Texas.
Yeah, Baylor, Houston, Texas Tech, and then Oklahoma State. And then you would have UCF, Cincinnati,
West Virginia, Oklahoma
West
State.
Virginia, Oklahoma State. Wait, no, we already said Oklahoma State.
No, we didn't.
No. No, Houston would be in that last one.
Oh, they would be, okay, so it would be Houston, West Virginia, Cincinnati, UCF. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Then you would put Oklahoma State with TCU, Baylor, and Texas Tech. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah. I think
I meant to say, that's why I didn't mean to say Houston. Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah. So you would have that system and say that your 4 pod like your 4 teams that perform the best in their pod are, let's say, Iowa State, BYU. Then you would have probably Texas Tech.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna go West Virginia for the 4th.
And then what you do, and then you can do this for every conference that has like 16 or whatever. And let's say you have 18 like the Big Ten, the last 2 would just be automatically eliminated. So you would just go to 16, and then if it's 20, then the last four teams are eliminated. So you just make it 16, and you play everybody in your pod. But in that one, that would be 5 pods. But if you have the worst record and you're like the last one out, you're already eliminated from that pod. Like the 5th one basically is already eliminated. So what you do is the way you would do scheduling is like the last 2 weeks you flex out those games. So the last 2 weeks of the season you flex out those games, and then it's basically what the Big Ten and SEC are trying to say, but they're trying to have that during championship week, but you don't have it during championship week. You have it the last 2 weeks of the season, and let's say you get Iowa State versus BYU, and then you get what was it? You said
Texas Tech versus West Virginia,
and then Texas Tech versus West Virginia, and then and then you can either just play whatever last game against like a random opponent, or you can wait till championship week and make that, and then that will be your championship game. So, like that's one way how you can do it.
Yep. Ooh, okay. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of how it'd be possible, yeah, but I mean there's a lot. That's like the rabbit hole I think like doing the pod system would just be like there's a lot of like, let's see, pod system, so the Big 12 pod system. Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of debates. I think we're just like getting really curious. So I actually found like this article from Heartland College Sports, and they like kind of have like exactly what we had for our pods with the West pod.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I think they've done a pretty good job, because I was trying to figure out how you would break it down. And I think they did a pretty good job here. So this is
okay.
So this is like obviously, so your pods here, you have your West pod, which is like the old Pac-12 plus BYU. You have the old Southwest Conference, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, you got like the like part of the Hateful Eight, like, and then you've got your expansion like schools from the American.
Yep.
The Big East. So yeah, this would be. Oh wait, yeah. So 9 conference football games. This is what they're saying here. Yeah, so 6 will be against. Oh wait, that would be basketball. Let's see here.
But still, though, like you play 3 against your own pod, then you play a combination of 3 against the other pod,
or you play 2 from like the other.
Or 2 from the
yeah. So then maybe like that's how you can like determine who you play in the championship game.
Yep.
Like you have like, because everybody in your pod is going to be playing. Would you say common opponents?
Yes, it would be common opponents. So then that way, like, there won't be like 6 or 7 tiebreakers. Like you will all play common opponents, so you basically will be playing the same people. So then that way it will be easier to decipher who makes it in.
Yeah.
Because part of me sort of wonders if this is what they're going to do in the future. Because, like, I mean, basically, Iowa State made it into the Big 12 championship game off of a technicality. So,
right.
I mean,
yeah, that was crazy. Like, we get just because of that tiebreaker. But yeah, we kind of don't want to run in that scenario. So I think just having like something clear cut would be ideal.
I completely agree.
So yeah, I think that pod idea is going to be pretty good.
But yeah, I really like feel like that's the only way to like really like figure out what teams are like
yeah. And then maybe on that flex idea, I think you had a good idea. Like when it came to the flex site, like, but I think instead of 2 weeks, you do like the last week, the rivalry week is when you do like your quote unquote conference semifinals to determine the 2 teams who plays in the Big 12 championship.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah. That's what I meant, because I wasn't sure how you would do that schedule wise, but that actually makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, so your rivalry week would be like your quote unquote semifinals to determine like who gets in, like whatever. But I guess in that case, it does leave the door like you kind of like, it's a little difficult, like considering how the way like football logistics helps and not how like they like schedule and way in advance.
Mm-hmm.
That would be something that like would be a little difficult. But I think college teams can do that. Like if we're gonna do like the whole thing about like, oh, like college like football is gonna be like a mini NFL or something. There you go.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like you might as well.
You might as well
Be
start.
able to.
Yeah, you might as well start the playoffs early within your conference. Might as well
I'm
start early.
I'm telling you, bro. Like it's absolutely like we might as well just embrace it. Like I think people just need to understand that we're never going back to what it was before in 1995. It's 2025 now, and we're never going back to what it was before.
Yeah,
So, I mean, just
these
embrace
are the
it.
mistakes of oversight from like what 40 years ago.
Yeah,
Teams kick the can down the road for like 40 years and now facing the consequences of it. We might as well just embrace it because I mean I would actually be on board for that, like where the last week gets flexed out and you start like the playoffs early.
that's what I'm saying. And speaking of the playoff, we're going to talk about the playoffs with MyBookie. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to show you stuff with MyBookie.
Yeah, I mean the NBA continues to do its thing. Yesterday?
Yep.
The Indiana Pacers just took it to Cleveland, and now they're up 3-1, the game away from the conference semifinals. And then you got the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks. It looks like Boston actually got a win this time around and blow a 20-point lead this time. So hey, maybe just maybe Boston can live up to expectations. And the Wolves and Warriors. This thing has been a bit ugly. Like, this has been an ugly series, but the Timberwolves up 2-1, and I mean they have an opportunity to go 3-1 up before we head back to Minneapolis.
Yep. And you see these odds right here. You look at the plus 236 for Indiana for tomorrow or for Thursday's game and Game 5 in Cleveland, where they can end it. It's plus 236. Those are pretty good odds. And then you look at Denver's odds. Denver's odds for what Game 5, which would be plus 374. So I mean,
yeah,
you look at this right here. You look at all these other different sports. You see horse racing, lacrosse, NCAA football. You can. There are already odds for the national championship. Look at this.
Yeah.
You see Ohio State plus 450, Texas plus 490, Georgia plus 580. So, man.
I'll take a look here. I'm trying to see. And Arizona State is a plus 8,000.
Yeah.
To win the national title. Then you got, let's see here. You've got Kansas State plus 9,000. Colorado, BYU, Utah are all at plus 12,000. And you got Iowa State and Texas Tech alongside Illinois at plus 13,000.
13,000. I like those odds. I really, really like those odds.
You're saying there's a chance?
So you're saying there's a chance? Yes, there is a chance, and there is a chance.
And then, let's see. Your Florida Gators have some pretty bold. That's a pretty.
Yeah, dude.
Plus 3,700 for the Florida
plus
Gators.
3,700 is pretty good odds for the Gators. For me, like we said it, we talked about Florida like a couple of games ago, Cody, or a couple of episodes ago, Cody. I don't know. I don't buy into the hype. I could be absolutely and completely wrong, and I sort of hope that I am wrong. I want Iowa State to win the national championship more, of course. But like, man, those odds for that is plus 3,700. I mean, like we always say, if you know ball, go and make money. Yeah, in this situation, if you know ball, go and make money. And as always, make sure to mention the Bleav in Iowa State podcast and put in the promo code MM50. MyBookie. Thank you guys for being our sponsor.
All right. Let's see here. Just going around the league a little, like I guess just around here, Iowa State. It's not a whole like. Oh yeah, I think I just got this. So unfortunately, the past weekend had involved the Iowa State softball team who were on a historic season, ended the season 31-23. They fell to the Arizona Wildcats in the semifinals of the Big 12 softball tournament. And the NCAA tournament for softball came out, I Bleav, yesterday. And Iowa State was one of the first teams out after what was a very impressive season for Iowa State. And I think the reason I say, like, there was a lot of, like, stir within, like, the Iowa State fan base that was, like, surprised that the Cyclones were left out of the tournament, considering how well they had played, like, since, like, February.
Yeah, but that non-con play really, really hurt them.
Yeah, it's just something that's, like, unfortunate, obviously, that, like, the non-con, like, kind of, like, was that big. And, I mean, yeah, I think if there was one thing that was going to keep the Cyclones out of the playoffs, or out of the tournament, it would have been the non-con. But I think this sets up really well for Iowa State, regardless if they had made the postseason or tournament or not, because, like, with the softball team, you're returning a lot of, like, talent that, like, are, like, freshmen and sophomores. Because I really enjoyed, like, this team. Like, you're gonna bring in, like, you're gonna have a lot of gals that are returning next year. Who knows what the freshmen could do if they had the impact like what the freshmen this year did. I think this sets up for something even more special for the softball team next season. But this was a very fun team to watch. I mean, they blew away all expectations. So now I think there's going to be a little more eyes towards the softball team. And I think it's great to see.
No, I completely agree, man. And, the 10-12 podcast was talking about them. Look out for Iowa State and UCF next year. These are both young teams, and they look to hit the ground running next season. So bright skies for the Iowa State softball team. So a few things before we leave out here today. We are a top 15 sports podcast in the state of Iowa, sponsored by FeedSpot. So thank you, FeedSpot, for being for rating us a top 15 show. Thank you, state of Iowa listeners. Thank you, everybody who listens. And also, we can be found on Twitter. That's where we mostly post all of our stuff. Cody can be found at Matt Campbell Impersonator. I can be found at Sci-Tie Guy. And then now we have 6 on social media. We keep expanding. We are on Twitch. That can be at Bleav in ISU 2025. That's where we can be found there. Everywhere else we can be found at Bleav in Iowa State on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So for Tyler Carter
and for Cody Van Ciello,
this is the Bleav in Iowa State podcast. Roll clones, baby.
Let's go State.